All right. Welcome back, Jags Nation. You're listening to Jags Cast. My name is Evan, joined here by my lovely co-host, Garrett, aka G Unit. What's up, man? How we feeling?
Pretty good. I think that there's a lot of stuff to pick up where we left off on, but honestly, I think that what I'm most excited to talk about is looking into the season. I mean, we've already at this point seen preseason conclude. We've cut down to the 53 man roster. I mean, we're in the final stretch. It feels good. I've got my fantasy football teams all set up. I mean, this is like the time of the year that it
Yeah,
just can't come soon enough. I'm
yeah.
like actually super stoked, man.
How you feeling about those drafts?
Well, I've got one more
Any?
tomorrow.
Okay.
One more work league tomorrow. I've already gone through two. I don't know. It's tough because the 12-man league that I'm in has like one guy that is an absolute like fantasy football terrorist drafting. I mean, it's
Oh,
like
did he take like Josh Allen
yes, he was the
first or
guy.
whatever?
Yes, he took he he took Baker Mayfield with his first pick, and he was like the fourth or fifth pick. So it's like, alrighty, like that's actual criminal behavior. But then
Yeah,
to go follow up with it in the second round and go and get Josh Allen, it's like, dude, now it's not even like funny anymore because you're actually like, I don't know. He was already fringe getting kicked out, but now
really.
that's kind of
You're
yeah. I
are
mean,
you the commissioner of that league?
yes, I'm the commissioner of all
Yeah.
three.
I
So
mean, you got to
it's,
draw a line in the sand, you know,
dude, I think we're going to publicly spank him at work. I think that that's what we're going to
dude.
do.
And I'll tell you what, I'd say this warrants pulling his pants down to his ankles. You know,
A little bit of bent over the knee action.
little cold splash of water on the hand first. You know.
I've got one guy with freezing cold hands and another guy with a piping hot hand to just give him a little bit of a mixer. I don't know, man. And it's the craziest thing too because we every year we vote on the Sacco for the league, and he voted for public humiliation, and it's like, bro. And then you followed it up with that. I mean, I guess maybe he felt like he was out of the woods by not having to be publicly humiliated, and he just has to go pick up like a round of beers at the bar. But
Yeah.
like seriously, that guy, if he does anything that is at the least bit like helping out somebody other than himself throughout the rest of the fantasy football season, he's out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, are you? Other than that, my
Dude, I'd
teams
kick him
are.
out anyway, man. I'd kick him out anyway next year. I mean, I'd let him play this year out, you know, but I don't know. It's just like, I feel like you want everybody to be at approximately the same, commitment level.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And to me, that kind of draft, I mean, it's fantasy football at the end of the day. It's not like it matters a whole lot, but like, whenever there's just like a free win on the schedule or there's somebody doing some really unpredictable stuff, like I just feel like it throws it off for everybody, you know?
No, because I
So
mean, ultimately, it's like it's supposed to be competitive. Like the
yeah,
fun
that's
of
the
it
fun in it,
is
right?
being competitive throughout the whole time. And when you
Yeah.
have some guy who's like diving on his sword for no good reason at all, it's just like, dude,
Yeah.
you're ruining it for everybody. And I don't know, maybe that makes me kind of like a stickler or a hard ass about things, but I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, it's like you got to at least respect it at that level. And if you want to just totally phone it in after the fact, whatever. I mean, I guess you're
Yeah.
not really hurting anybody, but
But as long as he sets a full lineup there. Like my big thing is like it just drives me crazy when somebody doesn't even set a full lineup. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
Unless it's something like if there's like a last minute scratch, you know what I mean? Like somebody was like questionable, like maybe you were counting somebody to play
sure.
on Monday night and you didn't there was just no sub available. I don't know.
But you're talking about like literally starting people on their bye week. Like that's the kind
Yes,
of stuff that
yes.
he
Yeah,
would
that's the
do.
type of shit. Yeah, I just can't, dude. Like with that, like
Yeah. So I mean, my fantasy football teams are looking good. I got BTJ in one of them. I didn't
nice.
touch Travis Hunter in any of them. I don't know if you have any thoughts on like the Travis Hunter implement in fantasy
Dude, it's tough.
football.
It's tough to say, man. It feels kind of risky. But you get him for a discount for that, right? I
You
mean,
do. And I mean, that's the okay, that's the other thing because And I don't know what it is about, like, you can get a running back who was a round one running back, like up there pretty high, or even round two. You know what I'm talking about? Like those guys, their ADP is really, really low, high, however you want to say that. They're drafted
Earlier
early.
picks.
Yes.
Yeah. You're
Whereas
talking
you can
about
have,
like Genty and Omarion Hampton
that's
and
exactly what I'm
Travion
talking.
Henderson,
Yes.
Even Caleb Johnson. Um, I mean, people are still drafting Quinshon Judkins, which might pan out. I don't know.
I don't know. I just because that team, like the Browns, look to be so dog that it's like
Dude, it's like the Browns have a type.
Guy, guys who won't sign a contract and are already getting allegations going into the year. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. I mean, I don't know. It's not like that there's anything wrong with them. It's just that they're rookies, and usually those low draft pick or I guess high draft pick, like a Travis Hunter or a Tet McMillan, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not like there's anything wrong with them. It's just that they're usually on bad teams or teams that have been
True.
bad, and people don't
I
really
don't
know
know.
what they're going to play out like.
I'm huge on Tet McMillan
Mm.
this year, just because like he's damn near just like the only warm body catching passes in
Yep,
Carolina.
especially shipping out
Dude,
Adam
yeah, that was
Thielen.
before I was drafting him before they shipped out Adam Thielen, and now uh, Jalen Coker is out with an injury too. I mean, this is also good for the Jags. We're going to talk about their schedule in a second, but week one, they're going to have like one and a half like capable receivers, which is probably really good for our defense in particular.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
actually,
but yeah, I did take Travis Hunter in my one of my leagues. And I don't know, man. I'm like pretty bullish on him. Like, I guess the trouble with him is like you suspect that the injury risk is kind of twice as high as it is for any other player.
yeah, just because he's playing so many snaps.
He's going to be out there, risking injury on half the snaps, or have no chance of generating you any fantasy points.
Yeah,
So
it's I mean I'm okay being a benefactor of the reduced, like the discounted price, but it is
oh
kind
yeah,
of I feel like it's kind of surprising that a guy who can be a top 10 pick, or I guess what
yeah.
because Ted
Well,
McMillan was also a top 10 pick, right? Was he like
Ted McMillan
seventh?
was also, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's like, again, and it's just like the alternative is you could get Amara and Hampton in the second or third round, and it's like I I'm not upset with it because I'm okay being one of the guys who can snatch him up, but ultimately it's
Yeah.
like it played out super well for me getting BTJ late last year, and
Oh,
I think that
dude,
you have to
that was
swing
so
on
close.
rookies.
Yeah, I did too. I drafted BTJ in all my leagues last year. Dude, I mean, that was so sweet.
Yeah, that's like absolutely one of the plays that makes you like deep playoff run competitive in
Hmm.
fantasy football is just
Yeah,
hitting on a rookie, really.
yeah. And for anybody out there that doesn't know this, I am such a sucker for drafting Jags players in my fantasy league. Um, Often to my own detriment. I just can't shake that optimism. That's like, oh, they're poised to have such a huge year. My first year playing fantasy was 2 seasons ago,
Hmm.
and my entire strategy. I was only in one league at the time. My entire strategy, if you recall, Garrett, hinged around getting the Calvin Ridley Trevor Lawrence stack.
This stack, dude.
And I'm pretty sure I took Tank Bigsby also in like the very last round of that draft, which I'm not going to say I was wrong on Tank. I'm just going to say I was early. Because last year he had some really good weeks, but two
Oh
years ago,
yeah,
I mean, his
yeah.
rookie year,
No, and I mean that's kind of like with like Tootin is. I mean, all those guys are being drafted like right in the same spot, being ETN, Bigsby, and Tootin.
oh, I
Like,
know. Yeah.
as it's been playing around, like even like if you were looking or running mock drafts a month ago, you weren't seeing like Tootin up there as high. Like Tank Bigsby and Etienne were pretty neck and neck in terms of ADP. And now it is clear that they're all three going to be featured to some extent. There's going to be somebody who's probably going to
I think
emerge a
so,
little bit higher.
dude. I think Lee Quint Allen also is going to be. I don't know. He's going to have a role on the team. He made the 53 man for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that it sets up the Jags for a lot of really great offensive weapons. I mean, I'm excited. I think that all of like the rookie class for the Jags, I think that a lot of the offensive pieces I'm probably more specifically like really excited about
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, I feel like looking back, the with maybe the exception of the 2022 down the stretch, it's like the offense is kind of high key like painful to watch. It's in
Yeah.
recent years, it's just been like, and a lot of that I would put onto the coaching staff. I don't think it solely falls onto like one of the players, but it's also like the line had been weak. Trevor had maybe not been playing super well, to many
Did
attributing factors.
did you ever see that? Like, it was like a 2 minute long video. It was like Trevor Lawrence dropped touchdown pass compilation.
Bro, give him a couple more years. There's going to be like Texans fans out there doing like compilation 9, compilation 10.
Yeah, for real.
But I mean, oh, you're talking about like he throws a good pass and then just like somebody just like and it shoots
Yes,
straight through.
yes, that's what I'm
Oh,
talking about. Yeah.
that's what you're talking about. Yeah, because that's crazy. It's just like he really hasn't had legitimate weapons. I mean, I said the exact same thing last time is that a lot of the guys that we're catching balls from are like fringe practice squad, not in the league type of guys. It's just
Yeah.
he has a totally different assortment of
Mhm.
players to even be working with
Did
anymore.
Gabe Davis get picked up by anybody?
I don't think so. I watched a video today that was about the worst quarterbacks of the 2010s.
Hmm.
And they were talking about in Josh Allen's season, which all of the quarterbacks out of Josh Allen's year performed pretty poorly. But I saw Gabe Davis standing in the background, and it's like you spot a cone when you see a cone. It just that guy. I can't even believe like what an embarrassment. That's like almost like the crown atop of Trent Baalke is the
Yeah.
Gabe Davis monster contract. This guy's gonna change everything for us.
Yeah, well, and I remember there being some amount of excitement about Gabe Davis coming anyway. Like,
Dude, don't say that you remember when I know that you were one of the guys out there living it. Yeah, I mean, hey,
okay, but he wasn't supposed to be. We weren't. He wasn't supposed to be like the linchpin of the offense.
no,
He was just supposed to be like the guy that ran downfield and kept the defense honest.
you
Turns
you
out like, he needed to be making clutch plays for this offense to be functional.
Bro, this guy just couldn't afford a Peloton subscription, so he's just out there running around trying to get his calories burnt where he could.
I thought he would be so good at that. I thought
Yes.
he was the perfect
Yeah,
guy to slot in there.
this guy could lose some weight. We could really have him just running downfield. And I mean,
Well,
it's
he had just enough name recognition to be like, maybe front offices and coaching staffs view it differently and knew the whole time that he just sucks. But I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. Otherwise, like, would they really have brought him in?
no. I mean, it
Well,
wasn't.
actually, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we don't want to answer that question.
I, don't- I don't think that it was like awful getting Gabe Davis onto your team. Like
Yeah.
that is like as a baseline like play because Trevor had worked with Zay Jones or a Zay Jones
Yeah.
type where it's like, hey, this guy wasn't a stud, this guy wasn't a monster, but then he came on the team and he was serviceable, and you could see Gabe Davis
Yeah.
filling a similar role. But when it all came to is like the guy couldn't catch the ball. The guy was just running around. We couldn't extend plays long enough to let anything develop.
Hmm.
That was never going to be the right read. As like Yeah, the Trevor to Gabe Davis stack. Now that's the one that fantasy managers need to be looking
And
for.
I do recall there was a game last season. I don't remember who we were playing. It might have been the Browns, but it was like there was a game where I think Gabe Davis did end up catching two touchdown passes, but it was like out of five tries. You know, he
Yeah.
had like three that he dropped and he ended up catching two.
I
Do you remember that game?
Yes, I do. I Because it's like after that, I felt like he kind of fell off the map. I guess maybe he got injured for a point in time. That's what must have happened, right?
Yeah. Well, but from what I understand, I don't, I'd need to double check this, but I think it ended up being more expensive for the team to cut him than it would have been to just keep him on the roster this year, and they cut him anyway.
Yeah, dude. I'm sure that in the boardroom, Tony Baselli was like, maybe we just ship him off to sea. Maybe we just try and get him drafted to the army, dude. Like any other caveat to get
They're
this
out
guy
here,
away from a football field.
they're out here like espionaging, war crimes against foreign and
Yeah, dude.
sovereign nations to just start some shit to get him drafted.
Planting evidence in his locker that shows that he's some sleeper agent from the state that needs to be locked up and hauled away. I don't know how, like, if you can cut money for guys, like if you got suspended from the NFL, that from like PEDs or stuff like that, or like a real serious crime or something, if you still
Uh,
owe them the money on
I
top
don't
of
know how
that.
that works. I would suspect you could probably like make some kind of appeal to the end. Like, I bet you would still have to pay them if it's in their contract, but I don't know if it would actually count against your salary cap.
I
Like, I
see.
think you can have like stuff adjudicated to not count against your salary cap, like in special circumstances. I don't quote me on that. I vaguely think I may have heard of that before happening, but
James Gladstone, we are now accepting applications to be lawyers for the
bring us in. Yeah,
Jaguars.
we've got a lot of good suggestions, as you can see.
We we're
Um,
we're very easy to work with and quite available actually. So
quite available. My schedule is open, so send us an email, leave a comment. Maybe
yeah,
leave a comment on
yeah,
this
that's
episode,
how
James
they'll
Gladstone.
get us.
Yeah, yeah, we'll respond. Anyway, let's talk about the schedule. I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know how you think the Jags are going to do this year. And what I want to know first is what do you remember what you predicted just so we can get a baseline, what was your prediction, do you think, for the Jags last year? And we
Well,
all have to give a little bit of grace on this one because I think we all, at least I think all Jags fans kind of drastically overshot their expectation for the win total last year.
yeah, I mean, last year, I mean, you definitely felt as though the Jags were going to be another at minimum wild card team. That's how, or I shouldn't say they or it, you. I'm saying me. I
Yeah.
thought, yeah, they finished poorly, but it must have been because of injuries that things started stacking up where really Trevor couldn't operate at the same level, and that
They were in a
really,
funk. It happens.
yeah, and not only that, I thought that the defense, like, wasn't playing as well as they did, but the offense was the one that really regressed.
Yeah.
And so 2024 goes in and starts, and I mean, I don't know. I thought that they were going to like blow away the Dolphins, and then they played the Dolphins, and the Dolphins looked awful in Week 1, and then we
Dude,
still lost.
I remember the first half of that game. I think we went into halftime like maybe up like 14-3 or something like that. And it
Yeah,
was in Miami. And at least for this couple of years leading up to last season, Miami is known as this team that's really good early on in the year. And they have this buzzsaw offense that just can't be stopped. And I was like, dude, the Ryan Nielsen hype was true. Like he nailed it. Like our
yeah,
defense is awesome. Like we're stopping Miami in their house in September. Like like we just won a Super Bowl, you know?
Oh yeah. And then I that was definitely like the Travis Etienne fumble as he's going, like
Dude,
has a
yeah.
clear path to the goal line, and he just like gets
It's
tackled,
like,
fumbles,
you know,
and
it's like the whole season fell out of his hands right there.
it really did.
That's how it felt.
Back then I wouldn't have seen it as an omen, but like now I took off my rose glasses, my colored glasses, and it's like I see it clearly. And then we pipeline that into, I think, losing to the Browns early, and
Browns
then
was next. Yeah.
yep, and
And that
then
game, like, it like ended with Trevor taking a safety or something. Like, it was just another brutal, like,
yeah, I've got it pulled up now. It's like, oh man, we got stomped by the Bills at the Bills. That was like
oh,
a
I think
Sunday
that was
night.
a month.
Yeah, it
I think
was
it
a
was,
night game.
yeah, it was a primetime game that the Bills just absolutely mollywopped us.
Yeah, and then it was like, all right, all hope had kind of gone out the door by then. It's like, yeah, because they had a rougher schedule that they were going to be playing into the stretch a little bit,
Yeah.
and to kind of drop the Browns, drop the Dolphins early, you were
Hmm.
starting to kind of see the writing on the wall that it's like this is going to be a rough season, and then it
And
totally
then there's
did.
that Texans game in week 4 where we were leading in that game right up until like the last like 20 seconds or so. The Texans marched down the field and scored a touchdown to win
Yep,
the game. Um,
you had
that was also the one where like we had like it was like first and goal on like the 1 yard line, and we walked away with 0 points.
yeah, it did.
First and goal, the 1 yard line. And maybe it wasn't the 1 yard line. I might be exaggerating, but like that's how it felt. I was at that game too. I want to watch that one.
Yeah,
Um,
I had to get laser removal for my Press Taylor back tattoo, full back tattoo. After that stylish play,
dude, and that was a big tattoo, man. That must have been expensive.
man. Not only that, it wasn't even the pain of the removal that got me. It was the pain of the Jags losing like that really brought the
Damn.
tears on.
Yeah.
It's a tough spot to be in. So, looking at it, you kind of were able to, like, to answer your original question. Last year, I was able to reason myself through like 9 wins and think that has to be competitive. And really,
Nine
a
wins
lot
was
of
like
that,
it felt like a no doubter. You know, we had won nine games 2 seasons in a row. And
yeah,
then there's that infamous Shad Khan quote where he's like, "This is the most talented roster the Jaguars have ever assembled."
bro,
And I believed it. My ass believed it.
of course. Chad Kahn knows how to speak to the heart of Jacksonville Jaguar fans. He's assembled the Avengers.
Gabe
I
Davis.
yeah, Gabe Davis. Gabe
Washed
Davis.
up Bills players.
It was I I'm buying into it again though. I don't really know how to say it any other way as though they've got me hooked. This season,
No, no, but you got to answer the question though. It's like, so you thought 9 wins was like the floor last year?
yes,
What was
because
your
I thought
realistic?
yes,
What was your
I
like middle of the road projection then?
probably like a 10 or 11. I felt
Yeah,
as
I
though
said
that they
11
could
wins last year. I said
yeah,
11.
the because you had to figure like last year you're looking at it and you're like we'll take both the Texans games, we'll take both the Colts games, and we'll split the Texans, and it's like
You mean
right there.
Titans? We take the Titans, take the Colts, split the Texans.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
And so that's 5 wins right there, and then you're
yeah.
already playing against teams like I felt like we could win against the Dolphins, I felt like we could win against the Browns, and you start looking at the
The
teams that are kind of
Raiders, the Patriots, the Bears. Like,
yes. Hey, I wasn't going to think, I wasn't out there smoking we can go into the Bills on Monday night and we can stomp them.
and
And
going into the season, it looked like the Vikings was probably going to be a free win. The
yes,
Jets,
that is definitely true.
there were just so many games last year where it was like, damn, like
It
those
would
should
be,
be easy
you
ones.
almost felt like it would be difficult not to get 9 wins,
Yeah,
right? With, with
100%.
the, with the team that had been largely the same as the previous year. It was not like totally different.
Yeah, it felt like marginal improvements on a roster that had shown that they could play winning football
yes.
for long stretches at a time.
So that's kind of where I felt like I left last year. So looking at this season, where obviously that didn't pan out. That was not how it went. This season, I think it's like a really good thing for both of us to get it on paper, and it's like this is where we feel where we're at. And I think
Yeah,
that you and I've talked about it before. Probably the perfect way to set that up is, hey, what's the floor? What's probably the ceiling, and then maybe what's a little bit more realistic in terms of
yeah,
it. And then I think that we can kind of work that to a little
yeah.
bit of a way. We've got the biggest Jacksonville Jaguar right here
There he is.
coming through, checking it all out. I think that then we'll really kind of get a good feel of like, hey, where does that fit into the
Okay.
scheme of the AFC
Yeah.
South?
So why don't I pull up the schedule and we'll go through the games one by one and kind of make our realistic prediction. And then following that, we can talk about, if things go wrong, maybe we lose a few more of these games. Things go really well, maybe we win a few more.
Perfect.
How's that sound?
Yeah, I'm down. I'm with it.
Okay. Let's see. Let me pull up the sketch here. All right. Can you see?
Yes, I can.
Okay, excellent. All right. So Panthers, week 1. How we feeling?
So that's one where absolute tone setter. If you couldn't put it together, if it was just the exact same nightmare that was last year, you would drop that game. I think that is a very manageable game for the Jaguars, just as you alluded to.
Yeah.
They're maybe a little bit thin in the offensive scheme there for the Panthers at the beginning. I just outright think that the Jags have a better cast and crew than the
It
Panthers at this
does.
point in
It
time.
feels a little bit like a must win, which is crazy to say for week 1, but it's, I don't know that it's a must win, but I think there needs to be some real signs of life, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not going to say they can't recover from a loss in week 1, but it's definitely going to be one of the easiest games on the schedule. Oops. Looks like there we go. Is it back up?
yep,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Panthers week 1 looks to be like one of the easiest games on the schedule. So, I mean, week 1's always a little weird. I feel like uncharacteristic things can happen in
sure.
week 1. So I'm not ready to write the season off if we don't come out with a win in week 1, but it really feels you know, like you said, real tone setter for the year. So I'm picking the Jags week 1. That's
Yep.
my pick. Same for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So week 2 in Cincinnati.
Yeah. So that is what I would imagine to be uh what I would hope to be a competitive game, but a realistic. Yeah, I could see coming out of week 2 the Jags going 1-1. I
Yeah, I kind of have to, like, gun to my head, I've got to chalk this one up as a loss. You know, I think there's a lot of reason to have high hopes for that game. It's Cincinnati early in the year, which they're like a historically awful team. We'll see if that trend continues, but it's been a thing for years now. The whole time Burrow's been there, it seems like they, can't get it together early on. Granted, I think they have more continuity, especially on the offensive side of the ball, going into this season than they've had in a long time.
yeah.
But I mean, realistically, like, without having seen the Jags play a real NFL game, I don't think that you can say they're going to be so good that they should win
Yeah.
in Cincinnati. So yeah,
And,
that'll be a loss for me.
well, and again, you said it perfectly earlier is that you're still figuring out things at the beginning of the season, and the Jags are obviously learning through a new scheme on both sides of the ball. They they will be still putting things together. And so when you
Yeah,
come in against a real established team like that, that's going to be a tough one for any team in the position the Jags are in to come in and win week 2.
definitely.
Week
All
3,
right. Spicy one, week 3. Texans at home.
so the Texans obviously have had the Jags number for a while. That one seems to always come out to be a really tough matchup in these past couple of years, where home or away, I think that against the Texans that they always kind of give a run for the money.
Mm-hmm.
At home, this is one where I think that the Jags, they are starting to put it together. They're kind of starting to hit a little bit more of a stride. And this is obviously very, very bullish, but I think taking away a early victory from the Texans seems plausible in terms of, again, I don't think that um, I don't think that C.J. Stroud finished the past year particularly well.
No
They
doubt. Yeah.
have kind of had questions at the line. I think that there is a great point that can be done by the Jags to come in and set that early win. Now, if we're talking about, ceiling and floor, I think that is a winnable game. I think that's a
Yeah.
winnable game. Bengals, I would say that maybe is a little bit of a less winnable game between the
Yeah.
two, but
Yeah.
with a floor look, you could definitely see them dropping that at home.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. I don't know. Their records were very different last year, but I don't, I'm not willing to say that the Texans were anywhere close to like an elite team last year. Um, and I think I think the Jags, frankly, had a much better offseason than the Texans did.
Yep.
So you expect, if I think about how much better each team got in the offseason, my gut says the Jags improved a lot more this offseason than the Texans did.
Well, I don't even know that the Texans have even figured out what's, 4 weeks in, who's the starting running back. I think that
Oh no, dude.
they have
Yeah.
all these questions on the offensive side. I mean, their defense is pretty solid, and I think that that's what they're kind of
Their
hoping.
defense is probably going to be excellent.
Yes, I think that that's what they're hoping will carry them through until maybe like a Joe Mixon can come back and hopefully look a little bit
I
more of
don't know, man,
himself.
because it's not too early to put some money on Nick Chubb winning comeback player of the year.
Man, when he came back for two games, I mean, you saw when he came out. I mean, they wheeled him out in a wheelchair, man. It was like airport security trying to get that man back on the field. I mean, his injuries were horrific. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Damian Pierce, that guy. I mean, you talk about fantasy football. That guy is a fiend
It
for
is
conning people into thinking he could do more than what he
it
can.
is crazy the lengths to which the Texans will go to not put in Damian Pierce. You know,
Oh yeah, I mean, it's clearly something.
they brought in Devin Singletary
Yeah,
a couple
dude.
seasons ago, and it felt like he was feasting for them.
Yes, I think that if you had a guy that woke up like out of a coma from like 4 years ago, he would like look at the backfield for the Texans and say, "This is a god roster." Joe Mixon, Devin Singletary. I think that might have been a little bit ahead of Damian Pierce, but then also Nick Chubb. It's like how'd they get so
How
lucky?
they do this, dude? Yeah,
And
they've
so
got just a stable of backs.
yeah, just ready to feast. The
Yeah,
four horsemen of the apocalypse, right
yeah.
there.
Okay, let's quit beating around the bush here. I am picking the Jags to win this game at home. I mean, I do think. I mean, I'm jumping the gun a little. I think we split with the Texans this year, but I think we win at home.
Okay.
And you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I put them down for a win. I think that that's a
Okay,
manageable win.
yeah. All right, so we both have them going 2-1 into week 4. This is the game
Yes.
that we'll be at. to watch in San Francisco.
Yes. And that's one. Okay. I don't want to be the guy that's like, yeah, they're just gonna beat the brakes off the 49ers. But again, I'll say they're kind of a little bit more on the injured side of things. I
Yeah.
I I ultimately will come to, so that I don't have a 5-minute dialogue for every single team that they play. I do think that this is a game that they just go out and they end up losing. I think that they end up kind
Yeah.
of getting outmanaged. I think that um, they have been playing. Maybe the Bengals pose a tough game. The 49ers are one that I see as just standing up and really showing that it's like the continuity. I think that that's the word with it. That they're going to be able to put it together and take a win at home
Yeah,
against the
I'm with you
Jags.
there. I'm with you there. I've got us taking a loss, going to sliding to 2-2 here. I do have a lot of. This is one that's tough to predict for me because I don't really know what the 49ers are going to look like, especially their defense. I don't know what they're going to look like on defense in particular, but yeah, I've got us taking a loss on the West Coast trip here, and then we come to the true terrorist of the NFL, the Chiefs. Playing Jacksonville Monday Night Football. That's on Monday night, right?
Yep.
Or is that Thursday?
No, that is a. Ooh, that's a good question.
I think it's a Monday night. Let's see. If you want to look that up.
That is a Monday night football game. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, this is another one. Unfortunately, I think I have us dropping. I mean, you just can't, in good faith, pick us to beat the Chiefs. Even at
No.
home. All right. Seahawks at home the following week. I think we
So
could win that one.
yeah, I mean, so they've got Sam Darnold, potentially Milrow, running the offense on the offensive side.
Did they draft Jalen Milrow?
Yeah, I'm almost certain that
Oh, I didn't
that's.
realize. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm not just blowing smoke.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not saying you're wrong. I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah, he is definitely that. Although from what I've seen, is that that's more of a, hey, they're going to play Sam Darnold as long as possible until
Now,
they can get Jalen Milrow in there.
a lot can be said about the Jags defense last year, but they did have Sam Darnold figured out in Minnesota.
Yeah,
You remember that was like the worst game to watch of the season is that 12-7 loss to Minnesota. That might have been Mac Jones's first real start of the year.
that seems reasonable.
Yeah. So, hey, maybe we still have the sauce on Sam Darnold. I think I pick him to win that game and move up to 3-3.
Do you think that it's like something? Because I mean, again, if we're talking about floors and ceilings, do you think it's one that at the floor that they even lose, or do you think it's like, hey, you know what? Actually, pretty convincingly, they're going to come away from that with a win.
No, I think that's going to be a tough game for Seattle because that's a West Coast to East Coast trip. It's a noon game.
They
It's
they
going
don't
to
know 1 p.m. like the Jags do. They
be
do not know 1 p.m. like the
yeah,
Jags do.
they do not. No, I think the Seahawks could be better this year. Not bad. I think they could be decent this year. And if they're decent, then I think you could that's a losable game. At our
Okay.
floor. I think it's a losable game. Yeah.
Okay. I would say for even a ceiling and a floor, I think that the Jags are going to take it away from the
Okay.
Seahawks.
Yeah, hey, fair enough. Okay, next week we have the Rams in London.
Well,
I mean, it's London, right? So
it's
I feel
hard to
like
bet
this is
against the
just
Jags. Yeah, in
has to be a
London.
Jags win here. Whatever. I don't know what the spread says for this one, but I don't know. I feel like I'm always going to pick the Jags in London.
Confident to say on a floor that they win in London.
Yeah, I'd say that. I feel like the London games are what like turns the season around, damn near. You know, like
That was kind of around. I assume that they're all around that like October time frame. I actually
yeah.
don't know. Do you know when the international games really start up? They obviously are going to put a many home games or as many home games as they can before they start seeding in the Germanys, the Brazils, but
I don't. I guess I'm not sure. I mean, I know there's usually one to like open up the season in like Brazil or Mexico. As far as the ones in Europe, I'm not. I have no idea when those typically slot in. But I do. I mean, I do feel like it's in the October time frame every year. I mean, I remember when you came to visit for ACL a couple years ago. That's always in early October, and that was one of their London games.
was that really?
Yeah, yeah, it was when they played the Bills. So we woke up early before we went to day three of ACL to
Yeah.
watch the Bills game in London.
Did they win?
They did, yeah.
They- oh, dang, dude. I okay. Like, say what you want. Trevor Lawrence over the years, I think he's gone like 2-2 with the Bills. Like they
I think he's
also
two and
had
one. I think he's 2-1.
okay,
Last year, I think was the first time he lost to the Bills.
that's crazy because they had that
Yeah,
stunner in 2021, I think, where they
yeah, it
won
was like
like
ended like
9-6.
6-9. Yeah,
Yes. That was crazy. I was back home in Missouri at that time. And like I
yeah,
was watching with my family that also are like, why the hell are we watching a Jags game? And then they
yeah.
go and they win it and they're like, gee, wow.
I
you know,
see the appeal.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we would have turned it off if they were just like getting the brakes beat off of them or anything
Yeah.
like that. But so okay,
Okay. Rams, we got that as a win. So I think we're both at 4-3 right now, heading into Las Vegas.
yes,
And
and I
that's after,
am.
I think we have a bye week after the London game.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yep.
So they'll get back. They'll have a bye week coming back, and then they'll head into Las Vegas against the Raiders.
So I have the Jags losing this game. I think the Raiders are going to be a decent team this year, and it's going to be on the road. And I don't think the Jags are. I can't. I don't think they're going to be so good that you can pick them to beat reasonably good teams on the road.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to be that class of team. I think it's a winnable. I think it's a ceiling game. This is like a ceiling game for me.
I see. Yeah,
This one depends a lot on how you think about the Raiders. So
yeah. I mean, that's definitely true. And I mean, it. You're really kind of leveraging how well somebody would think that Ashton GT is going to like develop. I mean,
yeah,
because that's going to be an obvious focal point of what they're trying to establish in
yeah.
Las Vegas. I still think that with the buy, I think that they'll have a lot of things that they can address. I feel optimistic because I think that past that fact, I think that they're in for a gauntlet, and I think that well, I guess I shouldn't say like a gauntlet. The next two games, like the Chargers and Texans, those are ones that kind of make me a little bit nervous. I know that the Chargers are coming to Jacksonville to play, but ultimately, I think that they can. I think that they can go and get a win off the bye week against the Raiders.
Okay, so then I've got them 4-4 at this point. You've got them 5-3.
Yep.
Okay. Next week in Houston against the Texans. I think I said this earlier, but I've got this as a loss.
Yep. And I would agree. I think that really the only elaboration that's needed is that the Jags they struggle on the road. They definitely
Yeah.
have not been doing well going into Houston and winning. I think it's like a pretty easy one to chalk up as this
Yeah.
one would be a tough one to
This
win.
one I think is actually sneaky a ceiling game for me too, though. Just because I think I'm low on how good the Texans are going to be this year. I think that the Jags, like if everything goes right for them, I think they can win this one.
Hmm. I mean, I think that that's realistic. Again, you're really you're. It's all about how CJ Stroud develops. If their team can, I mean, anybody's team stay healthy is what dictates anything anymore. But
True. Yeah.
I mean, CJ Stroud, if you looked at it in a vacuum from just last year, you'd say he's, you know, that he was just in a really bad division. They were able to put together the wins to go, and then in the playoffs that they were able to go and win another. But outside of that, it's like he did experience that sophomore slump, and so is he able to rebound? I've seen it before where rookie quarterbacks they struggle and then they come back and they're better than ever, and then they go off to do great things. And I've also seen it where rookie quarterbacks, like I think about when I was cheering for the Rams, Sam Bradford had a great rookie season. He hit his sophomore slump and then he just never recovered and he just never came
Yeah.
back. And so it is something that happens where
That's what
a
we're
rookie,
praying for, man.
the downfall of CJ Stroud. I'm ready for the discourse, like the public discourse, to stop hating on Trevor so much, and
Oh, I know.
also stop glazing CJ Stroud so much.
Yeah, I know. It's like if you want to call CJ Stroud the best quarterback in the division, I'm not necessarily going to argue with you. I don't think that, but I don't know that I have a leg to stand on really to argue against it. But whenever you see like the sports media talking heads talk about CJ Stroud, like he's just clearly far and away the best quarterback in the AFC South. I'm like, I don't really know that he's earned that. You know what I mean? It's like the Texans have had this just elite defense this whole time that he's been there. And I feel
Yep.
like that is more responsible for the outcome of their seasons than his play has been. So
I couldn't agree more. I think that we kind of start looking on to Chargers at home. What do you think about that?
yeah, this one's tough to analyze for me because on one hand it's the Chargers, but
In
on
the
the other hand
Jags,
it's the Chargers.
right? Yes.
Like they're gonna be like we're gonna get to the end of the season, and I think the Chargers are gonna look like a decent team. But week to week, it's just like, man, like is are you seeing the Chargers on the schedule, and is that like striking fear into your heart? That
No.
you got
Yeah.
Justin Herbert coming to town, and I don't know. I think I'm taking the Jags in this one.
I definitely would say that for a ceiling one, this is a win. I would say on a floor one, this is definitely a loss. This is
This could
one
be a
where I
floor
could,
loss, yeah.
I could 100% see it going either direction. Um, I the Jags have played well into the Chargers for quite some time now. I remember, I mean, shoot, I guess it was in
22.
2022, the both times. I mean, obviously they had the playoff win against them,
But
but
early
even
in the
that,
season, they dismantled the Chargers
yeah, it was
in Los
crazy because
Angeles. Yeah.
that was before that we thought that they'd be anything. I mean,
Hmm.
you didn't know where the Jags were headed to that point, and then I mean, it was surgical. It was scary actually. It
It
was
was like
like
it was probably one of the best start to finish games you've seen Trevor play.
I would 100% agree. And
Yeah.
to kind of give like anybody out there like an idea, like Evan and I like really started getting behind the Jags that first year where Gardner Minshew
Yeah.
was, or our first year. It wasn't Gardner Minshew's first year, but it was the one where he came in and they beat the Colts and they looked awesome, and then
It
they
was like it
proceeded.
was like a come from behind win in the fourth quarter. It was
Yes,
week one against the Colts. Yeah.
and then
Like the
they
2020 season?
that was 2021. No, that was 2020.
No, it was
Yeah, you're right.
2020. It's 2020, yeah.
You're right. And isn't that sobering to think that that we've been through 5 years? There's people who've been way
Yeah.
more long tenured with the Jags than us.
Hmm.
But so we've seen a lot of the Trevor Lawrence play, and seen his kind of ascent through. And so, like, talking about this matchup with the Chargers, I think that at least for us, I think that we feel kind of a I don't know, a sort of way about playing into the other people who are regularly compared to
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, because like that's like the guy that we really rallied behind.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah.
I'd love to see a win here. I could see it splitting a different way, but
There's just some element of the Chargers feel like little bro, you know.
I,
Like I can't, I just can't shake it. They
mm,
just have that feeling as a team.
sure. Uh, Cardinals.
So wait, what was your pick then? You said ceiling it's a win, floor it's a loss. What's your prediction?
That I would say win.
Okay,
I have
gotcha.
this marked as a win.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
think it's a hard win.
So then I have us 5-5 right now. I think you have us 6-4. Yeah, must be.
Yeah, I'm 6-4. I think that you are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5-5.
I'm 5-5. Okay. Next week we're heading into Arizona to play the Cardinals. This is another one where I think it really depends a lot on how you feel about this team. Once again, I'm actually pretty high on the Cardinals this year. So I've got us losing this game to the Cardinals, falling to 5-6.
What's got you so high on the Cardinals?
I think that from what I've heard, they brought in like a lot of defensive guys. I think their offense should be serviceable. They're going to get year two Marvin Harrison, Kyler Murray. I think it's kind of perennially underrated. I don't think he's like necessarily like an elite top tier quarterback, but I think he's serviceable enough. Like I think he's a fine quarterback in that division. I think there's a lot of divisions where he might be like an upper echelon quarterback. Um, but yeah, mainly just like some of the defensive moves they made in the offseason. I couldn't name them to you off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, I mean,
But
I also because of how much I think that the Jags struggle on the road, I also have this one at a loss. And spoiler, I would also have the Titans as a loss. I coming up, I think that they are just going to get kind of a little bit of an unlucky pull on both of them, because I feel like on paper you could see the Jags being a better team than either the Cardinals and definitely the Titans. But
yeah,
for both of these, I think on the road, going and playing in Nashville has been tough for the Jags. I've got actually both of these as losses coming up.
interesting. I've got us winning in Nashville this year. I don't know. I mean, you have to project Cam Ward to be pretty damn good, I think, for the Titans to take a big enough jump to for this to be a Titans win. And
Here's an interesting question. Who do you think um, who do you think is better? Like just like if you took them straight up. Like Anthony Richardson or Cam Ward?
I don't know. I honestly I haven't seen a whole lot of. I don't know a lot about Cam Ward's game. I know he's number one overall pick as a quarterback. So certainly he's got the talent. But he's
Yeah.
also a rookie. And I feel like maybe we've become a little jaded to just how much rookie quarterbacks tend to struggle in the NFL. You know, um, Granted, we've seen in recent history, we've seen Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert all have very excellent rookie seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just don't know that that's par for the course. Anthony Richardson,
Don't
pretty
want to
bad.
touch that one.
Yeah, pretty bad over there in Indianapolis. Would Cam Ward be worse than that? It's certainly possible. I think anything's on the table for rookies. You
Yeah,
know,
and I don't know. I mean, I felt like especially pessimistic about Anthony Richardson coming into the league because, like at Florida, I mean, you would go and fluctuate between these games where he would throw for 300 yards and have 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And then he'd go and he'd
Mm.
have 150 yards for like 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And it was like the baseline is this guy's throwing picks and he's just getting a lot of attempts out there, whether they're connecting, whether they aren't. That's kind of just part of what he was doing. He was just kind of spraying and praying, I guess. And at Florida, I didn't really think. I guess I was just really surprised, and I think that the athleticism was what took him there. Cam Ward surely will be better than him, and I mean, we have definitely in recent years lost in Indianapolis many times, and we've done it against Anthony Richardson, and so it's like
Have we?
yeah, like well, so last year obviously we didn't because by then I don't even remember. I think Joe Flacco was the starter for
No, that's
them
what I'm
last
trying to
year.
say is, hey, have we actually lost to the Colts when Anthony Richardson was starting for them? Let's
So he
see.
would be 2 year. He would be no. Yeah, I guess you're right. At home or in Indianapolis. No, you're right. I'm sorry. I am definitely remembering that incorrectly. I'm thinking of prior to Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I
So
mean, we've certainly lost in Indy before, recently, but I don't know that we've actually lost a game to Anthony Richardson. I don't think we have. Like, I straight up don't think it's happened.
well then never mind. I guess I'm sweating nothing.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, back to the schedule. So you've got us losing in Nashville. I've got us winning.
Okay.
So that brings me, I think that brings both of us to 6-6.
Yes.
Okay. And then Colts in Jacksonville. That's a win. It goes without saying.
Yep.
We just
They
we
own
just
them.
beat the Colts in Jacksonville. Yeah, it just happens. The Jets at home. I think that's a pretty comfortable win as well.
Yep.
I
I'm
think
not.
playing in Denver, that's a loss.
I would agree
At
with that
Denver's a
as well.
loss for me.
Yep. I
Okay.
would agree.
So then after this group of 3 games, I think we're both at 8-7. Is that right?
Uh.
I have us at 8-7 through
Yep.
through
That's
15.
right.
Taking on the Colts in Indy. What are we thinking?
I think it's a win. I don't even know that.
Yeah.
I don't even think that. I seriously like one. It's so funny. Like living in Indianapolis, everybody like you have one of two types of people. They either they're pissed that Anthony Richardson isn't even getting the chance to start out the season, and that they're kind of like settling for Daniel Jones to just like steer the ship, not actually try and propel it anywhere, but just try and steer. Or you've got this other side of people that are just like, yeah, I can't believe he took himself out of the game. That lost all my respect. Like when Anthony Richardson
hmm
tapped him out, because he just was like, yeah, I was tired. Like it's a tiring game. Sometimes you get tired. Sometimes you take a play off. Like that lost a ton of people's respect. I'm not even certain that either Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson in that point of the season will be the starter. I could see
Gardner
that they're,
Minshew comes back.
bro, dude.
Dude, that could be a loss then. That could be, hey,
Gardner Minshew absolutely has read up on all of our playbooks.
he's got the Gardner revenge game.
Dude, that's exactly it. All these revenge games, all of our former players. Well, I mean, we will when we face off against the Chiefs. Could you imagine? Patrick Mahomes goes down with a concussion, and Gardner Minshew has to come in and go ahead and drop 40 on our head.
Oh, dude. Yeah,
I
I'll say it. I think the Colts are going to be asked this year.
Yep.
That's like one of my I think they could. I have thought for a couple seasons now that the wheels were just about to totally fall off for the Colts, And I think this might finally be the year that it happens. So, so yeah, I've got us winning in Indianapolis. bringing us to that'd be 9-8. Sorry, no, 9-7. Nine
Yes.
and seven. And then against the Titans in Jacksonville, week 18, that's a dub. It's got to be.
Yep.
Got to have it. I mean, there's a very healthy chance that I think this game has playoff implications. You know, it's at home in Jacksonville. Um, who knows? I mean, who knows what these rosters look like by that time? But if we're talking about what they look like right now, to me, that's a win. So I've got us going realistically 10-7. I think we're in agreement there. I mean, we got there slightly different ways, but
Yep.
I mean,
But I mean, I think that really a lot of the key points were the Jags aren't going to perform well on the road, with the
mhm,
exception of um, London, which I don't even know if that gets
right.
counted as a home game for them or an away game. I think it kind of varies on the
That's
year.
technically an away game for us this year.
Yeah. So it's like they they're going to struggle on the road. I think that at the beginning of the season is where you're going to see the most shaky of play because a lot of guys
Yeah.
are going to still be working through the system change.
Getting their sea
Um,
legs.
yeah, and then by the end of the season, I think that if they can kind of get through the games that are like 49ers, Chiefs, I think that again the Seahawks and the Rams are both going to be trying games, and then the Raiders and then the Texans away. They've kind of got a tough middle stretch where there are games where they can go in and win, like that seem to be manageable, yet at the very same time you could recognize, hey, there is there's a real possibility that if everything went wrong, that maybe this is more of like a a 7 win season, a 6 win
Yeah.
season.
Yeah,
And
I think at a floor for sure, you could see us. I mean, you could see us probably going something like 3-3 in the division.
yeah,
And then at that point, losing basically all of our away games. Probably still winning against the Jets at home.
I would agree with that. I
Probably still winning, maybe against the Seahawks or maybe the Rams in London.
yeah,
But yeah, I'd say 6 to 7 wins. I'm saying is the floor for sure.
yeah. I
Worse
think
than that, and something has gone really, really wrong.
I would agree. And again, like I feel like you know again if we're talking about like what's realistic, the ceiling, we probably don't chip away that many more wins aside from I think I maybe that's just generally us being very optimistic about how they'll perform. I don't
Yeah,
see them taking away way more games or losing way less than 7 just because
yeah.
they've gotten and hit their
Right.
strides
Well,
and their
because
peak.
the NFL is funny. I mean, it's like even if you win some games you didn't think you were going to, you're going to lose some games you also didn't think you were going to lose. So I think a reasonable. I could see if everything goes right for this team. I could see them going 12-5. I think 12-5 is on the way, and I do think it's a really high variance team. Given the fact that we've got an entirely new coaching staff other than Heath Farwell. And we have like one of the key pieces on two incredibly important units on offense and defense being Travis Hunter. I mean, who knows what's going to happen there? It's going to be really exciting to watch. But, let's say, I mean, if Travis Hunter really is that type of, legendary NFL talent and he's in the running for offensive rookie of the year and he is like a stellar lockdown corner, you
Hmm.
know, if our defensive line can finally put it together, if our offensive line can take a step in the right direction in the run game, can our run game kind of get there? There's just a lot of things that you would like to think couldn't get a whole lot worse about last year. So you'd like to think that there's a lot of room for improvement, and it seems to me mostly like it's been addressed, you know, other than I think our biggest weakness is probably the defensive secondary,
Oh yeah,
particularly the safety room.
yep.
The safeties really concern me. I'm hoping that our defensive line puts it together in such a way that it masks that a little bit. But I think teams that we're really going to struggle against are going to be teams like the Bengals, where we're going to like be relying on our safeties to really play well in coverage. Any teams really that can threaten to pass the ball deep, I think could be a real problem.
Yeah,
So
it's a pretty obvious weak spot. I don't know that the like linebacker room is either like especially elite compared to maybe some of the other teams that we might be facing as well. Like the secondary, I would say that just generally speaking, there are kind of a lot of like question marks on how the defense will put it together because
certainly, yeah. When
I
it looked so bad last year,
yeah it's like will Eric Armstead look like perhaps a semblance of his old self?
the guy we brought him here to be, yeah.
Yeah,
Can Tyson Campbell stay healthy for one full season? That's like a hugely important question, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, and if he does, if he's playing at that level, then it's like that's great. That's exactly what you need. But if he doesn't, suddenly you're on the second guy, or even past that, so you might be shifting a nickel out, a little bit further, and you're playing two guys at positions to try and spread that kind of positional disadvantage around a little bit more.
mhm.
And the Jags, at least at the secondary level, talking outside of the linebackers and the defensive tackles and ends, that's kind of been a weak spot as we've seen it in years past, where you'll see guys like Rayshon Jenkins just like you know 3 steps behind the guy getting burnt, and that's a guy that
Missing another
maybe
tackle.
yeah, and he might be one of the better guys that we've had in previous seasons. It's
Hmm.
like that guy's going to be pride of the Jaguars and have stats on all the missed tackles, and it's like it's
Yeah.
not that he's like an awful player. It's that just generally we've underperformed at those positions.
Getting down on your hands and knees on Saturday night, praying for Darnell Savage to have a lockdown performance tomorrow.
Yeah,
Like,
I
yeah,
they it's tough at times because
yeah.
the guys they'll put it together some weeks and then be just missing tackles, not doing anything, having highlight reel plays one week and then missed
'Cause it
tackle
looks like Dewey's
compilation.
going to be starting back there.
I know, and that's so bad. That guy is not. He's like
Hold on,
if
hold on. Let's show Andrew Wingard the respect and the admiration that he deserves as being like the mascot of the team. I don't mean that disrespectfully. He's a totally serviceable NFL player, but he's like I feel like he's a very iconic Jaguar. He's been there. He's probably one of the longest tenured Jags, I think.
he's been there like at least 4 or 5 seasons at this point. He has
Yeah.
been there for a minute.
So let's have some respect, in the tenor of our voice when we're talking about Dewey.
But no, that guy does not. He's not a starting safety. That guy's just not a starter. That guy
Yeah.
on great guy, great guy.
I'm glad he's on the team. I just, I feel like they had other plans maybe at safety that didn't totally pan out with the Caleb Ransaw injury
Yeah,
in particular. Um,
I would
so,
have rather seen, and I think a lot of people would agree, rather swing at a rookie trying to run that starter spot than.
yeah.
I mean, at that point, I'd rather see Andre Cisco back another year than Andrew Wingard.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Right. So, I don't know exactly what that means. Is he going to start the whole season? Perhaps not. But it's I think that in their whole secondary, it's going to be fluid throughout the season, where they're going to be really just playing to who's healthy, who's available, and just trying to put the best guys out on the field at any given time.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm overly pessimistic about Andrew Wingard, but
Who knows? But hey, man, there's like a real upside case here too, where Tyson Campbell stays healthy all year, and Travis Hunter is truly like the elite prospect that we thought he could be, and he's locking guys down, and the defensive line looks great. I mean, there's a chance that our cornerback room is so good that
oh, that they don't even make it to the safeties by the time that the play's over. Yeah. The D
No, I'm not
tackles,
saying
they're just ripping the whole lineman in half. Yeah, I mean,
they're going to utilize Devin Lloyd so well in coverage that
yeah,
it's just not going to matter. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like half of your secondary is your cornerbacks, right? So like Jordan Lewis coming in, he's looked absolutely dominant in the preseason, and he's known as a good nickel corner. And yeah, I think there's a really high ceiling for our cornerbacks in particular. Our cornerback room, I think, has a really high ceiling. Our safety room has a low ceiling and also a low floor. So
yeah. It again, as a collective unit, I think that other parts of it are going to have to step up to kind of hide the weak spots. That's to get the wins that you really need, that you really are wanting, because there's going to be a lot of close ones. I mean, we're talking about games against
there were a lot of close
the
ones
Raiders.
last year.
Oh yeah. I mean, shoot. I mean, if you were to count as many times as the Jags lost by less than a touchdown, I mean, I guess you'd be.
That was most of the games last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like they're clearly in contest. They're not like way far off. It's not.
That's a key point, I think, about analyzing this roster and all the changes that have been made. Is I don't think they were as bad as their 4-13 record would indicate last season.
Yeah, they unlucky would be maybe the gracious way of putting it. They just couldn't close in a lot of the games that they kind of needed to.
You're starting Mac Jones for how many games last year?
Yeah.
So in the easy part of the schedule, right? Like that, I think that was the part that was really unfortunate, is that I think most of our winnable games last season came after Trevor was done for the year.
Yeah.
So you could have easily seen that team. I think that team, if Trevor stayed healthy all of last season, probably goes more like, I don't know, 6-11, 7-10 maybe. I mean, not that that's like anything to drop a banner for, but I'm just saying, I don't think they were quite as bad as they seem.
No.
Just based on record alone.
Yeah, if it were just the optics of like win-loss record, then you clearly don't. It doesn't capture the full picture. Is what you're getting at, and I would agree with that, which probably makes it even doubly more frustrating for fans like us, that it's just like you see that there's the potential there. You see that it's like if they can just take that extra step, if they can have it elevated just slightly above where they're already at, suddenly they've collected a couple more wins, and then if you do it a little bit past that, then I mean, suddenly they're
a good team,
a convincingly winning team. Yes, yeah. So it ultimately, I think that there are a lot of questions, but that's with any team that's out there. I feel like they can go out there and win a lot of games. I feel like they're wanting, I think that they're pretty well on pace to be competitive for a playoff run.
Absolutely. So there you have it, folks. That's how we're feeling about the Jags schedule this year. And I have just been notified that we have a piece of fan mail from Chris. Let's see, Garrett, has that one hit your inbox?
Wait, I see it now. It's coming in. It's coming in clearly. Alrighty, so Chris So Chris writes.
We love fan mail. We love when people write in. So
Wait a
please,
minute.
please send them in here.
I'm seeing a little bit. It's good that we've hit on some of this already. So Chris writes, how is Trevor Lawrence expected to fend off Nick Mullins' dark horse from being QB1 when he couldn't even hold off the starting role against the immaculate Mac Jones?
Boo!
I don't see it.
Stinky take.
I don't
Stinky
see
take,
it.
Chris. Bad
Chris,
take.
hey, man, there's a time and a place for everything, and now is not the time, nor is it the place. Chris, I've got a couple of things to say about that. So, number one, Mac Jones. Hey, love the guy, Jacksonville native. The guy's not a starting quarterback in the league. That's not where he is, and it's not where he is going to be this upcoming year.
What are we talking about, Chris? Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is the prince, man. And Nick Mullins has not shown anything this upcoming or this past preseason to indicate anything other than he's going to do what he does best. He warms the bench. He gets some Gatorade for his teammates, rubs some shoulders, make his team feel at ease, and
That's a backup QB. That's a backup QB right there.
While Trevor Lawrence marches down the field. Chris, respectfully, man, you don't
Thanks
know
for writing in. Thanks for writing in. That's okay.
Keep it.
Didn't realize that Mac Jones had shooters.
Hey man,
like that.
He did kind of. I don't remember what game exactly it was, but he did kind of have a little bit of white boy swag, dude. He was kind of. He's getting.
Dude, they're saying that he learned that from you, though. They're saying you taught him everything he knows.
Man, dude, all those times that him and I were hanging downtown Jacksonville, just shooting the shit, having the worst sliders of our life.
Sliding by the gastropub?
Bro, it could have been us.
Hit the Shrek rave?
The Shrek raves that him and I went to. He'd be the front half of Donkey. I'd be the back half of Donkey. We were killing it. We were ripping it up down in Jacksonville. But ultimately, man, the guy's just it's not it's not meant to be a thing. And so, Chris, appreciate the question, man.
This is like the type of letter you write if you've never seen any of Trevor Lawrence, Nick Mullins, or Mac Jones play. You've never seen a single one of them play before. Anyway, folks, thanks everybody for tuning in. You will catch us next time right back here on Jags Cast. So peace out, everybody.
Thank you.